Hey guys, Prowl 1701 here, and today we're going to be reviewing the Target novel of The Stones of Blood, which of course is part of the Key to Time saga. The third segment is what they're after in this one. Now I've seen the TV version of this probably about 3 times or so, and The Stones of Blood is an interesting one for me because the TV version I find to be really almost 2 episodes put together. And I really like one part and I really don't care for the other part. You have the stuff going on Earth with the, the cult stuff and the sacrifices and Stonehenge, or the thing that's like Stonehenge, that I'm not as into. Then you have all the stuff going on with the hyperspace ship. I love that part. I love the hyperspace ship. That's why when I recently ranked the Tom Baker stories, I went more into that when I was talking about the Stones of Blood and why it was ranked where it was. I got stuff going on here. Some of the stuff I like in it, but a lot of stuff doesn't interest me. And this stuff going on here, I'm like, ooh, I like this stuff. The Doctor basically acting as defense for himself so he doesn't get executed from these justice machines flying around, which I thought were realized really well on screen. The novelization does a good job of me liking the story more as a whole, basically still enjoying the ship stuff and not minding the Earth stuff as much. It just seems to flow as one story better. Maybe it's because I'm picturing it in my head. Some of the scenes are done a little better. I don't remember how much has changed because my memory is not the best in the world. I haven't watched Stones of Blood in a while, and I tend to remember more of the cliff notes than the actual story, so I can't tell you every single thing is different. But some things did stand out, like the cliffhanger, it's probably in part 1, when Romana gets knocked off and is hanging on the rocks and she thinks the Doctor did it. That is done in more detail, where she talks about, in the book it talks about a mist coming up, so she can't really see that clearly. She kind of gets to the edge before she realizes because she's caught up in this mist. And out of the mist, is something that looks kind of like the Doctor, but kind of in shadow, that shoves her over. It just describes it better. It's definitely a much more atmospheric moment. It builds to it more instead of just her turning around and getting pushed, basically. It does a really good job of building that better. The scene when the campers get killed is longer and a little bit different. Instead of just the hand turning, which is a great scene in the TV episode, the hand turning to a skeleton, that's great. They actually get caught by 2 different stones. The woman gets caught by one with it basically absorbing part of her into it, and then the guy gets caught by another one, and they basically absorb them into them, digest them, and then spit out the bones. But before that, we get a backstory about who they are. They're childhood sweethearts. They went to like high school or middle school. I'm sitting here watching as it's giving me the backstory for these characters. And having seen the story, I'm like, are they really doing this to me? Are they going to give me this backstory to get me attached to these 2 characters that I know are totally boned? Like totally boned. They're not getting out of this. They're going to die. I know. Don't do this. Don't do that to me. Don't tell me that they've been childhood sweethearts since like middle school or high school or whatever. They went to college together. They got jobs, in the same place so they could be together. They share a pet iguana and a pet fish or something, which are both, staying with their parents right now. I'm sitting there, it's telling me all this to get these attached to these people, to humanize them, when I know they're about to die horrifically. And if you didn't know that backstory, now you do. You're welcome. So things like that. The book, I really like the character of DeVries or whatever, the cult leader, DeVries, whatever, however you pronounce it. Because in the TV story, he was always part that rubbed me the wrong way. I feel like the actor playing him is just a little too over the top and too hammy. A lot like the waiter in The 2 Doctors. Just a little too over the top for me. It pulls me out of the story. One of the reasons I have problems with the Earth part of that story in the TV version is just that guy is hamming it up. Whereas in the story, I like him better. I mean, he's still probably not as smart as he thinks he is, let's put it that way. But I definitely was able to picture him as a more or a less irksome character in this. It also goes in a little more detail about some of the cultists, especially the woman that's with him, Martha. It talks more about her. why she's doing what she's doing. You know, that she doesn't really take it completely serious, but it's kind of harmless fun. She had gotten kind of bored with her normal life. And, you know, she liked, it's funny, it even mentions in here, it's like, oh, she liked the short sacrifices were okay because they're just animals, and the nice meals were good, and the occasional orgies were good. And of course I had to stop and go, wait, what did I just read? Sure enough, it mentions in there, and the occasional orgy. And I'm sitting here going, I don't think that was in the TV episode. So apparently the cultists party down. The Caliac group knows how to party. The occasional orgy. So that was, okay. So that was interesting that it kind of fleshed them out. It talks about how Martha obviously has a bit of a crush on De Vere's, or whatever his name is, the cult leader. And that's one of the reasons why she refuses to leave him when everything kind of goes to pot and the Ogre turn and come after them when they fail the Caliac. She refuses to leave. And he kind of realizes she likes him at the last minute because he's trying to tell her, you know, run, save yourself before they get killed. So it feels like it fleshes that out. The story as a whole is good. Again, I like more what's going on the ship. I like the idea of that. Doctor Who doesn't really touch on hyperspace much. They talk about other dimensions, but they don't really, you never really hear Doctor Who talk about hyperspace, much less a ship being in hyperspace. I love the fact that hyperspace does exist in the Doctor Who universe. And just a ship being situated there, right there over this kind of Stonehenge-like place, but you don't know it's there, because even though it's occupying the same space, it's in a different dimension. That's cool. I like that. And then the idea of justice machines and how that's kind of a double-edged sword, and it might not be a good idea, you know, kind of Terminator stuff going on there. It even talks in the book about one group came up with justice machines, and the justice machines found the whole galaxy in contempt and killed them all. And watching the Doctor work his way out of that situation, I don't remember how different what he says in the TV episode is from the book, but I remember I love both scenes. He just has a lot of witty, clever dialogue, and how he's having to outthink the machines that are totally logic-minded and try to escape his fate, as he's been basically slated to die because he opened the door and let them out. There is actually one part I thought was hilarious. He's talking to the professor, the older professor that's helping him. Let me see if I can find the page here. There we go, page 112. This is right when the Doctor is going back to the hyperspace ship, so he's talking to the professor because the Ogre are coming after him. He goes, now, if the Ogre break through, run as if something very nasty were after you, because something very nasty will be after you. That sounds like a very Fourth Doctor thing to say. Run as if something very nasty would be after you, because something very nasty will be after you. I don't know. It just feels like a Fourth Doctor line, and I love that. So there's a lot of that in there too that I enjoy. Now, it's hard to say which one I prefer, the book version or the TV version, because I do really like the actress that plays the older professor in it. She's really good. I really like her. But the actress playing Vivian LeFay is also really good in it as well. But I mean, they're also both fine in the novels. So it's really hard. This one doesn't stray much from the source material. You know, some of the Target novels are very different, or different enough to where there's several different things. More, it's just little moments, or just embellished a little better, like Romana getting pushed off the cliff. Other than that, it's basically the same story, at least going by my memory of the TV episode. And I liked it. You know, I don't dislike Stones of Blood. I definitely felt the story worked better as a whole in the novel version, instead of feeling a bit disjointed and jarring and being two stories stuck together. It kind of fit together like a puzzle better in the novel. But it was definitely a good read. I forget who sent it. One of my subscribers sent it to me, but I forget who sent this one specifically. I can't remember if Fly Attractor did or not. He sent me a lot of novels, but I can't remember specifically who sent this one. But I do want to thank whoever it was. I certainly appreciate it. So, The Stones of Blood, the Target novelization. What do you think of it? Do you prefer it over the TV version, or do you prefer the TV version? So comment down below and let me know other things to do. Don't forget to click the like button and the subscribe button. That helps me out. We are on our way to 1,000 subscribers. We are over 900, so I am trying to reach 1,000 this year. So if you enjoy my content, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, that like button. I also have a Patreon if you would like to support me that way. That does help me keep the bills paid, especially lately, with everything going up. So I would certainly appreciate that. There's a link to that down in the description below if you would just take a moment and check that out, see if any of the tiers interest you. I want to give a shout out to some of my top tier patrons, Stephen Crane, Colin Coney, Finn Perkins, and Unknown289. I appreciate their support as I do the support of each and every one of my patrons. Thank you very much. I also have a P.O. box if there's anything you would like to send me to look at and review. And a link to my Amazon wish list is down there as well. Most importantly, thank you for watching.